Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Department for Infrastructure and Transport's annual Construction Industry Briefing. My name's Andrew Ockenden. I'm the Executive Director of Public Affairs at the Department, and it's my great pleasure to be your MC for today's event. Now, before we proceed any further, I would like to acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Some quick housekeeping. If you can please switch your phones to silent or aeroplane mode, that would be most appreciated. Toilets on either side of you in the foyers. In the very unlikely event of an emergency, please take guidance from the very capable staff here at Adelaide Oval and proceed to the Telstra Plaza outside of the arena for further direction. And this is a non-smoking venue throughout the entire complex. Also important to note, this is a COVID-safe event. So everyone, you should have checked in as you entered the venue using your QR code. Hand sanitizer is, of course, available. Please ensure you're socially distancing wherever possible and practical, and masks must be worn at all times, except when you are seated. So we're very lucky to have around 600 people in the room here today, which is a testament to, obviously, the successful management of COVID in this state. We also have 300 people, or just over 300, live streaming from around the state as well. So welcome to those of you that are dialing in from wherever you may be. And a recording of the event will also be available on our website tomorrow, so if you do miss some of the key points, you can please click on there and grab any extra information that you need. So before I introduce our speakers, we're very fortunate to have Jeffrey Newchurch and Rosalind Coleman, Chair and Deputy Chair of the Kaurna Yurta Aboriginal Corporation, to deliver a welcome to country.
Well, I'd like to thank DID for giving us the opportunity to come here today and to do Welcome to Country. Mani nā pudni, naka nā minya, nā mani, nā Nari Rosalind Coleman, Jeffrey Newchurch. Mara wichinanga, Kaurna mi anya, nā wangadi, nā pudni, Kaurna yata ana, nā chu, yungata, Yakanandalia. What I'm saying is that welcome, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our beautiful Kaurna land. Please enjoy the 50,000 plus years old place. Some may not know, but our land is the home of the great giant red kangaroo, Tanda, the great Kaurna ancestral spiritual bilky, the ibis bird. Our living Karawira Pari, which is the River Torrens, calls you to rest a while on the gentle banks. The Red Gum Forest River is a Kaurna name for the water course called the River Torrens by the colonists. It was an important resource area for a favourite camping place for the Kaurna people, providing water, fish and other foods. Our ocean are home to the great white shark and the blue whale and the glorious albatross. Kaurna are the original people of the Adelaide Plains, the area now occupied by the city and the parklands called Kaurna Tandanya, the Red Kangaroo Place. This place was the heart of Kaurna country. Before 1836, it was open, grassy plains with patches and trees and shrubs, the result of hundreds of generations of skillful land management. Kaurna country encompassed the plains which stretch north and south from Tandanya and the wooded foothills of the range which borders them to the east. I am the inheritor of 50,000 plus years of Kaurna wisdom and my ancestral Nellie Ramangerium. My parents, Nellie and Shine Wanganing. And they go back and beyond the time when Adelaide was joined to the Kangaroo Island and Antarctica. We knew this country, Kaurna Yurta, belonged to us With many obstacles, disappointment, and setbacks in our way, we gathered our stories with determination, resilience, and courage. Our Kaurna elders presented affidavits which backed up what we knew was true. This is our land, always was and always will be. We aren't alone on this journey. We are tracking together with the guidance of our elders and those that are here with us today, finding our way and passing on knowledge to our young people. Nagana Yurta Aboriginal Corporation are working on self-determination and capacity building with our community. The recent kayak directors have been backed and entrusted to shape, guide and lead this journey. These words are designed to run into action that will achieve real results and deliver on changing lives for not just today's generation, but for the next generation to come and the next. Our desire is to honour this in the best way we know how, and that is to remain focused, understand and listen to the words, wisdom, integrity, honesty of our elders, and to always remain true to the intention and to ensure no meaning is lost. And to have a desire and energy to move forward, to work with stakeholders that are here today and build strong, lasting relationships. There's no challenge too tall to face, no future too small to expand. May many hearts create a beautiful sympathy in tune, in rhythm with each other as we come and work together. The justice rolls like the waves of the ocean that surrounds these lands of our beautiful country called Australia. From north to east, to south to west, from coast to forest, to desert to city. We are all tuning in together on country. It is the very essence of who we are, our identity and our connection to country. May our footprints on these ancient lands of the Kaurna country and other nations remind us of our creation and connectedness in our search to truth-telling. May the gum trees of creation, may the gum tree from its roots to its branches remind us to dig deep and to reach high in our call for love, justice, peace and equity. I am so thankful for the resilience, survival and leadership of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, and are thankful for the opportunity for leadership, truth-telling and friendship. Nakata and Nakata, thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge Minister Corey Wingard, the State Government, Department of Industry and Transport, and you lovely gentlemen from the industry. What I first want you to do is, and those on live stream, can you please stand up, please? I just want us to acknowledge us in the room here, to give that thing and acknowledge all of those people that can't be in the industry and in our departments that we work in, striving to get, you know, the best outcomes for our great, great state, South Australia. So I just want to acknowledge that, and we stand for that. So thank you, and now you can sit and now I'll have some words. Language is not neither black nor white for Aboriginal people. It is livid, vibrant in its colour, vibrant in its connection to us as a people. We have lived it yesterdays, today, and into tomorrows. Being successful in that, we as Aboriginal people rely on that connection. We live it. So that is the importance of language. I've actually chosen some great words today, and it themes around the NAIDOC theme, healing our country, because it's critical, healing our country, and transport is the pathways that allows us to connect to heal our countries. Only Judy Atkinson, quite a few weeks ago in my moments of downness, sent me something from George Orwell. George Orwell informs me my need for the truth telling. Sunday morning coming down. Who controls the past, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past. The most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of that history, their history. And Judy then goes on to say, truth-telling has to be a two-way deal. We need to also sit in our truth now. How much of the colonial past are we acting out on ourselves? Only we can change. Only Judy Atkinson. Uncertainty, when accepted, sheds a bright light on the power of intention. That is what you count on, not the outcome, but the motivation you bring, the vision you hold, the compass setting you choose to follow. Joanna Macy, The Greater Danger. Allowing your scars to mend. The past has already been lived. It doesn't have to be relived. To sacrifice the present and the future by living the past injuries is not the way of the sages. Disjar Control, Rimpoli, opening the injured heart. Yesterday I was at the zoo. Hadn't been there since I seen it used to be an attraction to come from Point Pearce to see George, the orangutan. One of the things that scared me yesterday, and always when I have been to the zoos, is monkeys. If you feed them and then you don't feed them, they come back to you vicious and in armies. So I related that to, the peanuts. Value, they add nutrition, they can also cause damage. But from our perspective of the Aboriginal position, in this getting this opportunity with employment, procurement, creating businesses for Aboriginals, we were like that peanut. The beauty of the nut, the seed, can grow fruitness in you, but we were the shell that was crushed. So we certainly want you to welcome us in this industry. We have a vibrancy of young people, of our elders, that are neglected in today's society, where we want employment. We want to be creative in getting those opportunities to be business-driven, to be equal. So that's why, we want to enjoy the peanut. We, like I said, in the zoo was a good thing because we got a good position to have outcomes where we build together. I want to say thank you in the industry to those people that are here that allowed Ghana and the Aboriginal people to work with them, people in the department. We've become friends. I certainly, and you in the endeavour where you are with Aboriginal people, that friendship is important to us as Aboriginal people because that's success and uncertainty for us in this industry of having employment, having businesses. So I thank you, and I certainly welcome you to welcome us into this opportunity. And once again, I acknowledge the Minister for allowing us to be from Ghana. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jeffrey and Rosalind. Okay, to our agenda. We have 6 speakers for you this morning, starting with the Minister for Infrastructure and Transport, the Honourable Corey Wingard. It's great to have you here with us today, Minister. Our department's Chief Executive, Tony Braxton-Smith, will then provide his opening remarks, followed by presentations from the executive team responsible with working with all of you here today on planning, delivering our multi-billion-dollar infrastructure pipeline. So we'll start with Susanna Fueo, Executive Director, North-South Corridor, Wayne Buckerfield, Executive Director, Transport Planning and Program Development, John Whelan, Executive Director, Transport Project Delivery, Simon Moroney, Executive Director across Government Services. So we have a very tight agenda this morning, so I ask that any questions you may have, you hold them until the end of presentations, as we do have an opportunity for networking at the end of proceedings, and our speakers will remain to have those discussions. Okay, we now have a short video that will now play, which will set the scene for today, and then I'll welcome the Minister to the stage to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is wonderful to be here and to see so many friendly, smiling faces in the room, and I know we've got a number of people online as well. I'd like to start by acknowledging the Kaurna people and thanking our elders for that wonderful welcome here. We do truly appreciate partnering with you, working with you, and I must say, being out on a number of sites and seeing the Aboriginal people that are working on these projects, and I was just having a beer at a pub up in Port Pirie with a couple of people, rather Port Augusta, and they were so excited with working on the Joy Belush Bridge and the skills they're developing and what they're learning out of this project and the opportunities that are ahead of them. So that was absolutely outstanding. It is a privilege to be here before you today. We've got a very exciting time and our government is so pleased to be rolling out so many projects right across our state. And as you can see from that video, so many more to come as well. We know that infrastructure projects provide economic prosperity and employment for so many South Australians. It's an industry that supports tens of thousands of jobs, and we're incredibly aware of the importance of that. There's no doubt that in these uncertain times that we're living in, this industry has shown tremendous resilience, and it's been an absolute cornerstone of our economic recovery and job creation, and the construction sector should be very proud of that. When COVID hit last year, we quickly came and put forward a stimulus package of $144.5 million to support the construction industry in this space, but more importantly, to get things moving and to keep things moving. And you all did a fantastic job with that. Keeping people in work, keeping your doors open and delivering important infrastructure projects. I'd like to take the opportunity too to thank Tony Braxton Smith and the whole team at DIT for facilitating that as well. I think they did an outstanding job working with industry to roll that out. And of course, as we look at a way forward out of COVID-19, our government and me as Minister are very focused on making sure this sector is at the forefront of delivering the economic prosperity and the growth that we need. We know there will be tough times ahead as we do move our way through this, but we're very focused on making sure industry, and the construction industry specifically, is right at the forefront, because we know how important it is to generate jobs. That's why we've received significant funding from the Treasurer to deliver a number of projects right across the state that are vitally important to South Australia as far as building is concerned and infrastructure is concerned, but equally as important to creating jobs and growing industries, and we see a really great job there. Full credit again to the department and industry working hand in glove to make sure that we had a matrix together that we took to SA Health. You may or may not be aware, but a lot of work was done by the department and the team to put this matrix together so that we were prepared should there be a setback or a lockdown of any sorts in South Australia, that we could keep the construction industry moving ahead. And SA Health were very taken by that. I proudly say that it was our department that led the way across all the departments to make sure we could say to SA Health, here's your problem, here's our solution. Depending on where the tiered system ranked, we could offer a solution up. And we did that and got construction back and operating far quicker than many of the other industries across the state. So well done to everyone involved there. You would cast your mind back a little bit before that too. Our state dealing with bushfires. We had a horrendous bushfire, one of the worst this state's ever seen. Just prior to COVID, it almost gets forgotten now. But the way that we dealt with that as a state, I think, has to be remembered. And the way we're dealing with COVID as well, I think, is very positive, and we're looking for that growth. I know I've hosted a number of roundtables with many of the people here in this room and probably people online as well over the past 12 months. And I extend a huge thank you to everyone for their perseverance and keeping business working through that time. Now, I've only got 10 minutes, so I know you want to hear from Tony and the team, so I won't go on. But I do want to talk about a couple of aspects, and that's what we have going forward. Short, medium and long-term projects, the planning that's involved with that. I think it's crucial that we get this work rolled out, and I know that the confidence of everyone in the room is what they want to see from government, and they want to see us leading the way. I know that some of our projects and government is potentially your biggest client, so we want to make sure there's a clear pathway there for you. Obviously, today is about the short term, the next 12 months and the next 4 years. As you'd be well aware, we've got a $17.9 billion infrastructure spend over the next 4 years. Record levels never seen before in this state. I'm very proud of that, and I'm really excited to be rolling that out. 8.8 billion of that is in roads and public transport infrastructure. So again, there are plenty of opportunities that come on the back of that. We know, as I've stressed, how important it is that we roll that work out to bounce back from COVID-19. What we know is that level of infrastructure supports some 19,000 jobs. And again, I can't stress and emphasise that figure and the importance of that enough. That is opportunities for the next generation, feeding families within South Australia. Whether those projects be the $2.8 billion we're spending on rural roads, of course the Sturt Highway, the Riddoch Highway, the Horrocks Highway, the Barrier Highway, the Eyre Highway, all of these road projects are vitally important. Or perhaps it's some metro congestion busing projects as well, resurfacing or intersection upgrades as well. All of those works are on the table, many of them outlined in the video you saw earlier. That is the short term. The medium term, the planning works we're doing. We know how important that is to industry. We have some $32 million out there in planning works to provide that pipeline going forward across the medium term, to make sure there is certainty there. It's no secret, and everyone in the room probably knows, that when we came to government, that planning work hadn't been done. And that makes it harder. It makes it hard for you to have that certainty. It makes it hard for us to deliver on projects that actually have got the detail that they need. So we know that going forward, we need that planning works for the medium-term projects, and we look forward to having those projects shovel-ready and ready to go as we get the funding and that pipeline can continue. We've already done a substantial amount of works on the Truro Bypass and have money committed to that from the federal and state governments. The Greater Adelaide Freight Bypass as well. Money is coming for that project, and planning works are underway to extend that as well. $10 million went into key road corridors: Portrush Road, Crossroads, Unley Road, Main North Road and Brighton Road, amongst a few, to decongest those roads as well. Now, those studies are due towards the end of the year, and that will enable us to flag with industry the state government's intention to build on that $8.8 billion in the short-term pipeline across a medium-term pipeline. I'm sure these studies will provide a host of intersections of varying complexities that will generate work into the medium term. The longer term, we look at those projects now And earlier this year, the state government got 6 new projects on the Infrastructure Australia priority list, 4 of those in transport as far as infrastructure projects are concerned. We're very, very excited about that. 2 of them were water projects as well. Now, these are that longer term, the substantial bodies of work that will, again, build that pipeline out and plant that direction for where we're heading as a state and for industry to come along with us as well. The Outer Ring Road, the high productivity vehicle network access, Adelaide level crossings and the road maintenance backlog. Just while I'm on the road maintenance backlog, many of you would be aware, but when we came to government, there was a $750 million road maintenance backlog that we were left with. All courtesy of your good friend of mine, Tom Koutsantonis, who was Treasurer at the time, and he didn't see fit to invest in this works, which I find quite unfathomable. And we are doing that, especially across our regions. We know how important our regions are here in South Australia and what they offer, not only from a productivity point of view, to get goods to market, to make sure we can grow our economy, but also from a tourism perspective. And through COVID, we've seen that immensely, people travelling into our regions and making sure we make our roads safer. And we know that if we can widen our roads and put in audio-tactile line marking and safety barriers on our regional roads, it can prevent accidents by up to 40%, which I think is quite outstanding and work that needs to be done, because unfortunately accidents, crashes on our regional roads represent far too much of our road toll and lives lost on our country roads. So we're very focused on that. Now, I've only got a few minutes left, and I want to talk about the visibility of this pipeline as well. This is something that we have worked on. I've talked about the short, the medium and the long term, but we also want to talk about the certainty from month to month. And the department is doing a lot of work in this space, and I commend John Whelan and the team for the work they're doing there. And also Rebecca Pickering from the CCF. We work very closely with her to make sure that we can give more regular industry updates, as I said, on a month-by-month basis where possible, so industry knows what's coming. They know what's happening, what's just around the corner. These annual events, I think, are great. If we can increase the amount of work we do like this and keep that communication going, we know it'll be better for the industry, and we keep looking forward to working with the industry to do that so that we know when these work packages are coming out. The other thing we want to do is ensure that work is properly scoped by the time we go to market. Under the former government, we know that projects were going to market and the scoping work wasn't properly done, and we know the problems that that can cause. For instance, the Gawler Rail Electrification Project went to market with only 5% scoped. Only 5% of the work had been done, and that has resulted in us having to unpack a number of problems throughout this project. Well, we want to ensure going forward that we're focused on that not happening anymore. Now, I haven't forgotten the most important or the biggest project I think that we're embarking on here in South Australia, which is, of course, the North-South Corridor. And everyone knows the headline numbers. $9.9 billion is the project cost, some 10.5 kilometres, 2 tunnels, major work starting in 2023, finished by 2030. It's going to save motorists some 24 minutes of travel time through that section and take out 21 lights. It will be a game changer for South Australia. In the industry, of course, the work that's going to come, and again, some of the figures you would have seen on screen and possibly read about in the paper, I think are absolutely outstanding. And the opportunities, and Susanna will talk more about that in a moment, are absolutely immense for the industry. And this will be a key economic driver for our state. Not only the sector and work that's going to be available in the sector on this project, but also what it will do for South Australia, connecting that 78-kilometre stretch and adding to the productivity value that this state will be able to produce. So I think I've gone for my full 10 minutes. I want to thank everyone in the room again for their massive efforts during these record levels of government spending. It doesn't go unnoticed by the Treasurer, but again, through industry and strong advocacy, I'm very proud to be the Minister that's helped deliver this pipeline of works. We're here now laying out our vision for what we want South Australia to be over the next 4, 8, 12 years going forward. We see great prosperity here in our state. We see the economic opportunity for South Australia as we come out of COVID, putting us at the forefront of states in this nation, of regions right across the world. I'm proud to have put the money on the table we have. I've mentioned those figures, and I can mention them again. $17.9 billion, 8.8 of that into roads and public transport infrastructure. The opportunities are immense. I'm proud also to be working with the industry to create these opportunities and deliver jobs and prosperity for the next generation. I think that is incredibly important, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see these opportunities roll out for the next generation of South Australians, and it's exciting to see what we can build together to deliver a better South Australia. That's why, as we say, we're building what matters for the people of South Australia, and the people in this room are helping us do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. I'll now welcome our Department's Chief Executive, Tony Braxton Smith, to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, I too would like to acknowledge we're gathered here today on Kaurna land and pay my respect to the elders, past, present and emerging. First, to reiterate the words of the Minister, I'd too like to add my thanks to the industry for all of the efforts you've made both recently in responding to the latest requirements through the COVID outbreak and the shutdown, but also more broadly. By working together, we've been able to continue to hit the key project milestones and keep them either on schedule or ahead of schedule, despite the many challenges that the outbreak is presenting. The foundation of that, of course, is keeping our people and our work sites COVID safe, but I think we know that it's also disrupted supply chains and made it extremely challenging to focus on delivery. And I really want to acknowledge the creativity that you've used and the problem-solving skills you bring to making sure that we've got the resources available to us and dealing with those project-specific challenges and keeping us on schedule. Your efforts are incredibly impressive. We feel like we're working with you as a team and we're delivering some quite exceptional results. And right now, as the Minister said, you should be feeling very busy because as we measure it, we've got somewhere between 2 and 3 times the level of historic spend on infrastructure going on in the next year. The projects that we're going to be working on are delivering vital economic stimulus, but beyond that, as the Minister said, they are going to deliver an enduring legacy that I think we feel will be something of this period for future generations. So anyway, today is our opportunity to share with industry partners an updated view of the pipeline and what's coming next. But before we get to our biggest ever infrastructure to-do list, let me just share a couple of key points about how we're going to go about doing it. Firstly, our focus does remain on getting to shovel ready as soon as we practically can, while specifying the requirements with all of the essential detail and the accuracy that we need so that all parties have clarity and certainty about what's needed to underwrite an efficient procurement process and successful project delivery. We've lifted our game in this area in the planning and pre-delivery phase to help us pick up the pace. For example, and I think it's been acknowledged already, the technical studies that we do now are packaged up and procured with a streamlined process so we can get going quickly. We've updated the master specification, I understand 60 parts to date in the last 12 months, and we're getting them closer aligned to national standards and also taking into account industry feedback and lessons learned. So, for example, we've responded to recent industry feedback about providing clearer guidelines as to our requirements on sustainability. And actually, internally, we've also streamlined our own processes for environmental approvals on native vegetation with the Department of Environment and with other parts of government so that we get to ground quicker. We've also improved our internal processes for design development and for traffic modelling so that we get an earlier fix on what our preferred option is. And then we go out and secure the land that we need as soon as practicable with a streamlined process that government's supported to enable land acquisition. And for the bigger projects, we're working very closely with Infrastructure SA to make sure that they've been assured and that we've ironed out the wrinkles before we put them to market. So all of that is about us shortening the cycle from funding commitment to ready to procure and making sure that we're clear with industry about what we're in the market for and the outcomes that we're seeking to deliver. And then for the department, when it comes to procurement, whilst other states are still working through their 10-point plan, well, while they're talking about it, we're just very quietly putting it into action. And without going through all 10 of those points, just a few things about what that really means. So for us, we do update and promote transparent pipelines of projects, which is both why we're here today, but why we run a number of events in a number of formats over the year to make sure that you're aware of what's coming next and prepare for it. We use standardised contracts and procurement methods and an approach that we've designed that is aimed at reducing your costs to bid. We take a structured approach to risk, doing the homework to understand and quantify it first, then to manage it and mitigate it, and then making measured judgments about how we allocate that risk through the project. And where we think it's the right thing to do, we're using collaborative forms of contracting where it's best suited to manage the risks and deliver the outcomes that we need. We're also actively managing and monitoring performance through a standard program and project management toolkit, again, something we've developed last year and rolled out this year, and that's helping us, giving us a better framework of project controls to manage and measure performance. And within the contract frameworks, we're introducing mechanisms that can be used to reward high performance. All of those improvements have been made directly in response to feedback that the industry has provided us in the last couple of years, and the improvements we've made are substantial. That said, we know there's still more to do. And we are committed. We're committed to working with industry collaboratively, tackling the barriers to higher performance, ensuring that good work that you do is fairly rewarded, and delivering better project outcomes both for our community and the customers. So we're up for that conversation and to continue that conversation. I have to say we've got a big run up to Christmas, but next year we want to take a fresh look at the contemporary leading practices that can be used to extend beyond the BAU of contract compliance into fostering continuous improvement. So stay tuned for more, and let's have that conversation in earnest after we've had the pause for the Christmas break. Now, I want to turn to Aboriginal engagement and inclusion and economic participation for a moment. A vital element for us of how success is measured is what we achieve in Aboriginal inclusion and economic participation. Now, we're already building a track record by working actively with delivery partners on initiatives that increase opportunities for Aboriginal employment and career development. A couple of recent examples on Gawler Rail electrification, 125,000 hours worked by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander employees, 9% of total hours, well ahead of the 6% target that we agreed with our project delivery partner. Another little positive initiative that I have to congratulate the Port Wakefield to Port Augusta Alliance for is they've partnered with TAFE SA, and they're providing 16 long-term unemployed Aboriginal people with an opportunity to work on the project while they complete a Certificate 2 in civil construction. We're also working with Aboriginal-owned enterprises and startups that are being fostered on our projects. Enterprises like Roar SA, who do traffic control, Intract, who do traffic barriers, Barubi Australia, who do civil construction, RASAC on the APY lands, and more recently with the Far North Aboriginal Employment Collective, we're developing the Far North Traffic Management Group, to name a few. And it's impressive to see how industry is responding to this. Our team are seeing now in various tenders increased commitments to partner with Aboriginal communities and to partner with Indigenous businesses, and we really appreciate the willingness that you have to commit. Now, as we were reminded earlier this year in Reconciliation Week, reconciliation is more than a word, it takes action. And that's why in the coming period we're going to be undertaking a verification exercise to understand how industry partners are following through on the commitments that they make in their tenders, any challenges they might be facing in meeting those commitments, and anything that we might need to do to help them succeed in delivering those outcomes. So please, in the coming period, let's maintain the focus on these commitments in your tender responses and give us confidence by demonstrating how you're going to go about meeting those commitments. And if we're already in delivery mode and you've got a challenge on meeting a commitment or a promise that you made to us, then please, let's reach out to us and let's work out how we solve the problems proactively together to produce positive outcomes. So let me turn now to the opportunities for industry. The Minister spoke at length and with some passion, and probably a few things that I'm going to repeat, but there is a huge pipeline of investment coming. The team today is going to be presenting on all of the projects that are coming in the next 12 months with a bit of an update of what you might already know. But these projects are clearly focused right across the spectrum on economic growth and job opportunities. At the top end, they include major construction, the biggest construction program ever in terms of North-South Corridor, which Susanna's going to take the talking stick on in a moment. But there's also major new projects, including the Harndorf Junction upgrade and Truro Bypass, where we're going to be ready to go to market soon. We've got upgrades and maintenance on existing infrastructure. For example, Hyson Tunnels, we're coming to market shortly if we're not already there. and again, Old Murray Bridge. And we've also got about $1.1 billion allocated to upgrading rural highway corridors. Some in delivery, some still to come. So there's plenty of work coming. In fact, I remarked recently, it used to be a conversation about the Valley of Death. Now I think we're having a conversation more about the plains of prosperity and making sure that we just keep up with everything that's coming our way. We've also got ongoing stimulus programs, and they continue to provide short-term work. We've just got a new package from federal government, 13 new road safety projects, 570 kilometres of roads in regional and rural South Australia that are going to deliver better safety outcomes. And we've got targeted bridge, marine, road infrastructure projects that are small, medium. There are opportunities for all industry sectors. And let me not forget the social infrastructure, which Simon's going to talk about, because we've currently got a project pipeline of about 150 projects that are at various stages of delivery, and all of those over $1 million or more, and in total value about $2.4 billion, this year delivering three times more output than we've delivered previously, and more in the pipeline. And then, as the Minister mentioned, we are investigating future opportunities to leverage the existing network with ongoing programs of transport infrastructure planning. We've done some in the last 12 months. We've got more to come, which are very much focused on delivering government with information about and that helps them to make well-informed investment decisions that help to stimulate and grow our economy. So anyway, I hope that you'll find the upcoming presentations informative and useful. We've got a lot of work to get on together, and we know that our success and your success are inextricably bound, so we're here to work with you on delivering these outcomes. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Thank you to those for tuning in, and I'll now hand over to Susanna, who can talk to you about the North-South Corridor.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning, everybody, and thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share and showcase the extraordinary outlook for South Australia's infrastructure, and particularly the North-South Corridor, which is a big contributor to that. If during last year's presentation I was focusing on the North-South Corridor, the complexity, scale, and uniqueness, and very excited about being the first time we will bring 15-metre diameter tunnel boring machines to Adelaide, and all the fantastic benefits that is going to realise for South Australia and for the economy, as you can see behind me. Today, I really want to focus on, firstly, informing you about the findings and work that has been done and is shaping the look ahead of the project. Secondly, and quite important, to formally launch today phase 2 of the market sounding, and third, to look at what's next and what is happening in the next 12 months and the following years. So, in terms of what's happened since we last met, we awarded contracts for a value of $100 million. We are supporting employment for 285 jobs. I will not bore you with all the contracts that we awarded, but I want you to bring your attention to the areas that they are addressing. And A, the area of de-risking the project through relocating utility services and ground investigations. And then B, it is about getting ready to procure the main construction contract by completing a reference design, by setting up a transaction group, and obviously completing the phase 1 of the market sounding. So what did we hear on phase 1 of the market sounding? So we heard loud and clear 4 key messages from industry. The first one is obviously the size of this project requires to break the packages of work in something that is sensible. Sensible from a monetary point of view, sensible from a scope point of view. A second key message was success for this project will only happen if we are looking at collaborative approaches, particularly when it comes to risk allocation. Third message was separable, enabling early works are also necessary to succeed. And last but definitely not least is we need to balance those packages to make sure that we are catering for local, non-local capability and expertise to deliver all that together. In addition to that, we also reached out wide in the industry, and we have met with some peak bodies and some associations, and we have talked about how to ramp up on skilled labor, how we are going to deal with traffic during construction, with the spoil management, with the logistics, with the haulage. So my message is we are going to continue with that engagement, and we have a very, very interest and focus on working with the industry on addressing all those themes. So now, informed by you, and we have developed a packaging approach that we are going to put to test during the phase 2 of the market sounding. So it splits the huge scope of work of the North-South Corridor Torrens to Darlington, the 9.9 billion investment, into 4 key packages. So the Southern Tunnel and the Northern Tunnel, considering a collaborative modified form of DNC as the contract form, and the tunnel connector and the Torrens connector surface packages looking at an alliance model. In addition to that, obviously, we are continuing with doing enabling works and some thinking about the separable portions. Regarding the whole of corridor thinking, putting aside for a minute the intelligent transport systems, when it comes to fire and life safety, when it comes to the Mekilek, the current thinking is to allocate that scope with the southern and the northern tunnels. Regarding motorway control center and the whole ITS, we will be engaging with the industry to understand if they need to be procured separately or where are the merits of bringing them together with the other tunnel packages. We are considering appointing an operations and maintenance provider to help us through the design and the delivery, and keeping whole of life cost and whole of life cycle very present on the job. And we will also discuss with industry the potential of allocating a delivery partner to help us through the construction. Again, this is what is going to be tested with the industry. Considerations for bid reinvestment cost are here, and also synergies on combining some of the procurement to try to reduce bid cost, and like Tony mentioned, get in a more streamlined, ready, shovel-ready. Now, this packaging proposal will be completed by the end of the year. It will be crystallized on the project delivery strategy, and we want to commit to come back to industry and present early next year what is telling us, and informing exactly how the packages will finally be, contract models, and also the sequence where those packages are going to be released to market. Because, again, I describe this as the state's 10-year pipeline of works. I describe it as a marathon where we are sprinting 400, 800 meters at times, but going back to a marathon pace. And I want to emphasize that it's not just about that packaging and procurement and how we need to make it sustainable for the industry. We also need to think about the skill ramp up on labor and the resources, both human and material. So a couple of numbers in terms of jobs. So at peak construction, we will be requiring in 2026 around 5,000 people working in this project. Now, regarding materials, everybody loves a slide with tons and cubic meters and liters. For those that followed the news and heard the radio this morning, you know now that we will use twice as much steel as the Sydney Harbour Bridge, twice as much concrete as the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. And I am even going to go and hone into one of this area, just to give an example of the quantum and how much we need to invest now and work now on building that capability to be ready by 2024. And I've picked precast because not only we will require 55,000 precast tunnel lining segments for the project, it is the rate we are going to need them at. We are going to need to feed the tunnel boring machines at a rate of 400 per week. That is just almost getting close to 60 per day. To be able to cater for that run rate, we will have to manufacture in advance 7,000 of those segment liners. And again, we need to talk now and talk to the industry on how we are going to build that capability to be ready. And This is probably the most exciting slide for the industry, is where are the next procurement packages that are going to come in the next 12 months. I'm going to mention a couple of them in terms of their uniqueness. The first one, legal services, and please, not because we are planning on lawyering up, but because we understand that with the complexity of the project, we really need to make sure that we continue adopting best practices in contracting and the right risk allocation that Tony mentioned are really important to the success. So North-South Corridor has worked with the Crown Solicitor's Office, and as of yesterday afternoon, through their website, the CSO website, we are inviting legal service providers to register their interest to become the North-South Corridor preferred suppliers of legal services in 10 areas of legal expertise, and they cater in a really wide scope. The candidates that are going to be selected and will be selected to become those preferred legal service providers will also be the candidates that can go for the procurement of some of the legal packages, like the drafting of major contracts that we will be issuing. So that's a little bit unique, and as I say, since yesterday is opened on the website, and then within the next couple of weeks, and definitely before the end of September, we will be launching the RFT for the phase 3 and 4 of the grant investigations. Now, phase 2 currently underway, focusing on the Southern Tunnel ground conditions. Phase 3 will be focusing on the Northern Tunnel ground conditions, and then the uniqueness about phase 4 is to give us the opportunity to actually cater for tenders' request for information about ground conditions, to understand what they are dealing with. We have other packages there that are really exciting, but I guess lots of people are going to be waiting to hear about the EOI and the release of the RFT for the Southern Tunnel, that is Package A. And to get to that point by Q2 2022, what we need to do is to launch today our market sounding phase 2. So as 8 a.m. in the morning in SA tenders, we have opened the registration of interest. We want to invite industry partners in 3 key sector areas to come and register their interest. And we are talking about constructors, we are talking about operators and maintainers, and we are also talking about partners in a wide supply chain that I'll talk about it in a minute. Now, registration is open as of today. It will be closed on the 1st of October, but from the 13th of September, we will start evaluating the registrations of interest that we will receive, and we will start to plan and schedule the interviews, starting with the construction and following with a stage approach, operators and maintainers, and then the wide supply chain. Wrapping all that up in November, so it really ties in with finalization of the packaging, our project delivery strategy, and then looking forward to next year coming back and seeing you all and explain to you what you told us. In terms of questions that we are going to be asking, as we committed last year, we are now going wider and deeper and reaching throughout the industry. And we want to hear from constructors that, of course, have delivered tunnels and roads, big packages over $1 billion Australian dollars. We also want to talk to the constructors that through collaborative contracting models have delivered roads and tunnels in Australia, and then big focus on all those partners that have delivered infrastructure in South Australia. When we are talking to operators and maintainers, we want to ask them, how do you operate and maintain tunnels? Also, how have you been supporting the whole of life design and thinking at the procurement and design and delivery phases? And how are you innovating and helping us through technology to do a better job? And then we are looking at the wide supply chain, and we definitely want to look at South Australia and all the capability from design, logistics, traffic management, materials, construction, haulage, etc., and a special focus to South Australian Aboriginal businesses and small businesses. So all of them can start registering today, SA tenders, and then we will be staggering that engagement. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see the timelines. Again, completion of that packaging, going back to the industry early next year, potentially around February time, early February, and then releasing the EOI for the Package A mid of the year. And how is that Package A looking? Similar to what we were discussing last year, it's approximately 6 kilometers. It's a 6-lane motorway. 4 kilometers are twin tunnels delivered by TBM construction methodology. 450 meters will be cut and cover. The balance of the alignment is going to be obviously surface works. We will be delivering the noise mitigations, landscaping, urban design, consideration for all the tunnel systems, so ventilation, fire, life safety, and also the whole of corridor thinking about how we will package the ITS and some of those management motorway control center in consideration to how we can package things to reduce bid cost and give more certainty to industry about the jobs that they are going to get. Also, big focus on risk allocation approach. I really want to hear from the industry how much a geotechnical or ground conditions baseline report helps them, contamination baseline helps, how we are going to deal with working with the authorities and the regulators to make sure that we have a solution for spoil management, how we are going to facilitate setting up precast facilities, and continue working on the risk in the project with utility services and all the site preparation and access works. So what does the next 12 months look like? As the past 12, incredibly busy, but it's a privileged place to be for all of us. And our commitment to complete phase 2, 3, and 4 of the ground conditions, complete phase 2 of the market sounding, complete our delivery strategy, coming back to tell you how we want to deal with precast jars, spoil management, size of the packages, contractual models, and also making sure that obviously reference design is going to be completed in the next couple of months. We will go through a project assessment report to engage the community and securing the land that we need to provide site access and minimize the risk and delays, give certainty to mobilize fast and get on with the job. And then obviously leading to the release of an RFT for that southern package. Project timeline beyond those 12 months, as I say, we are still on track. It looks very similar to what we showed you last year because we are still aiming to start construction of the first main package on late 2023. Today, we also have around here some of the key members for the North-South Corridor team. We have our Director of Engineering, Malcolm Short, Director of the Delivery, Jenny Carberry, Director of Procurement, David Henchliff, and Director of Business, Paula Norman. So please reach out and talk to them and familiarize yourself with the North-South Corridor. And with further ado, I would like to introduce Wayne Buckerfield, Executive Director for Transport Planning and Project Development, and he's going to talk about how these amazing opportunities for our economy are in the make and they get built. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Susanna. What an exciting project and what a great day to be here in spring in Adelaide, the sun shining. Rosalind, I got to spend a bit of time on the banks of the Torrens this morning and share your love for Kaurna land and this great city that we're privileged to live in. So, as the Minister mentioned earlier, we've had unprecedented levels of investment into planning studies over this past couple of years and also looking forward. I wanted to say that it's so important that we actually invest the time, effort and thinking into developing broader strategies, but also developing projects to shovel-ready status that are well understood, well formed, well consulted with the community and best able to deliver important outcomes for the state as a whole. I wanted to thank industry for rising to the challenge in terms of assisting us with the planning work that is currently underway and I'm sure planning work that's coming forward that I'm going to speak about as well. We can only be successful in this space working together, and not only with the consulting industry but also with constructors as well, in putting the right level of thinking and effort into coming up with infrastructure solutions for the state. I've got a little bit of detail on just 2 slides coming. Andrew Ockenden will also give details about a Forward Works program which will be released on the internet later today, that has a greater level of detail around timing and some of the content, not only of the planning work but also the broad range of infrastructure projects that are in delivery at the moment or coming up for delivery shortly. So let's have a look at the first slide. That is basically talking about planning studies that are underway. It's probably worth noting that the script that we're following in determining these planning studies is the 20-year infrastructure plan released by Infrastructure SA. Actually paints a picture of the way forward of where we need to be considering investments into infrastructure that actually deliver the greatest benefit for the state. So just in terms of a bit of a snapshot of the things that are either finished and have led into construction projects that we're seeing at the moment, or ones that are about to start, and ones that have still got a little bit of time to run toward the end of this year. You'll notice in those boxes strong focus on public transport initiatives that will be about improved services for users of public transport, but also those things that will actually drive increased patronage on our public transport services as well. So looking at things like bus rapid transit routes into the city, looking at the northwest, for instance, as an area where there could be opportunities for greater investment into public transport, park and rides. You'll notice in that sort of top right-hand box, looking at studies around where there's areas of significant economic development and growth in terms of Northern Lefevre, Edinburgh Parks, looking at restricted access vehicle networks that are really looking at transporting goods in a productive way between manufacture and markets. In the rural areas as well, further work on improvements on the Eyre Highway. You'll see corridor plans in the bottom left there, and looking at the freeway, Brighton Road, Main North Road, Paynham Road, actually understanding how those corridors are currently operating, how they could operate into the future, and what are the sort of initiatives or investment opportunities we need to do to make those corridors work more effectively. You'll also notice corridor improvements for bus corridors there, a number of those listed as well. Once again, looking at how can we actually improve the attractiveness and the levels of service for public transport users, and a number at the bottom box here of intersection planning studies, some of which have come to fruition into works you're actually seeing rolling out in the Adelaide metropolitan area at the moment. Just looking forward, try that again. There we go. Some of the upcoming studies. You'll get a little bit more of a mention in John's presentation about Harndorf and Truro. There's a body of work there to continue investigations and design in ahead of a procurement process that'll be starting later this year. The Greater Adelaide Freight Bypass, whilst there's some construction works happening on that now, there's more planning works to look at how that bypass could be completed. That's about directing heavy vehicle, high productivity traffic around to the east of Adelaide. Also looking at Murray Bridge, opportunities particularly on the portion of the Princess Highway and then the Dukes Highway from Murray Bridge through to the Mallee Highway turn-off and beyond. Augusta Highway, looking at opportunities to continue the good work that's already started on the duplication, looking at certainly the sections up towards Crystal Brook and Port Pirie, a range of cycling studies to actually improve gaps in our cycling network, but also opportunities to increase the cycling network and making cycling a valid and more desirable form of transport, not only for commuters but also for recreational purposes and for tourism. What else there? Level crossing improvement. You'll notice the government released recently a commitment to a 10-year strategy for level crossing removals. We're starting the work on a number of those. Some has already started and a bit more to come as well there. Area plans, looking at broad areas of the state to identify opportunities for infrastructure improvements, be that in the Eyre Peninsula in the far north, the Southern Fleurieu and the Adelaide Hills, for example. some corridor studies you'll see there in the top right-hand box, further work on BRT links into the Adelaide Hills, further opportunities to continue safety works on Victor Harbour Road to build on the duplication work that's already been committed to as far as McLaren Vale, infrastructure corridors, looking at Marion Road, the inner ring route, and also from some of these corridor planning studies, individual intersection improvement planning studies as well to get intersection upgrades to shovel-ready status. I've gone very quickly through that. As I said, the Forward Works program does contain additional details. There's a number of people from my team in relation to Scott Cooper, Andy Excel and Arne Glavinic who are available today if you're wanting a deeper insight into what we're currently undertaking or what's on the near horizon in terms of planning work. So, yeah, that's me done. Very quick snapshot. Obviously, very keen to talk to industry. The door is always open in addition to these sessions to talk in detail about what's on the horizon and the sort of procurement strategies that we're looking at engaging to put these studies in place. So it is now my very great pleasure to introduce John Whelan to the stage to talk some more about transport infrastructure projects coming up. So thanks, John.
Who would pick it? 26 degrees, 900 people online. Who's doing all the work out there? What I'm about to go through will show some of that stuff. Thank you, Jeffrey and Rosalind, for the intro words. I thank the Minister and Tony. But it is an exciting program that we already have, and I'm going to go through some of that. So please bear with me. I'm going to sort of go through a bit of a snapshot, if this will work. Right. Last financial year, we put through about $1.28 billion. 80 million of that was from our annual programs. This year it's just as big, 1.3 billion, around about 100 million works from our annual programs as well. Well, I went too far. Here we go. Let's have a look at some of the projects that are in delivery at the moment. I can't thank my team enough. Brian and his team, Brian Roach and his team, you know, Hazel, Cameron, Harold and Marcel, who manages the works in delivery. Port Augusta to Port Wakefield through an alliance, CPB, Oricon, GHD, a sub-alliance with McMahon's. On that project alone, we've got some of the other tier contractors, Raw, Buttrose, OTM, T&J. It's a great network to filter down and give everybody project work. You've got Granite Island there with McConnell Dow and WGA. Regency to PIMS open to traffic ahead of time and under budget. McConnell Dow doing a great job there. Ovingham level crossing, again, McConnell Dow with Arup and Motts. It was good. I was out there the other day seeing the Hulley team, and for those that see that project, the piling's in, really progressing well. Flagstaff Road being delivered by local South Australian business, Bud Avcol. Goodwood, Springbank Doors, can't thank Michael Rander and his team enough with, you know, Sonia, Michael Marks and Vinny delivering our congestion busting intersections, Springbank Goodwood Doors, BMD delivering that with a number of other projects, even up at Nan. And across the board, we've really hitting our straps. That project alone ahead of schedule, delivered under budget as well. APY Lands, you know, a remote location of our state. Lucas and Sejuna Bolt Hauliers up there with a team from our staff, and who can forget Asiona delivering Gawler rail electrification, a real challenging project, but delivering also opportunities for companies like Catcon and Raw in that space as well. This is a really interesting fact. You know, can't thank the CCF enough, Rebecca with her team. Since COVID, March 2020, we put $1.8 billion of new transport infrastructure projects been released by this department. That's a huge effort by my team, huge effort by the industry to be able to be capable to help us deliver that as well. You know, the Australian and South Australian governments have committed close to $2 billion to upgrade SA rural highways. And you heard the Minister and Tony talk about those highways, Princess, Barrier, Eyre. So real credit that we've had that in the industry. Can't forget the stimulus packages. Over 105 million was our budget. We delivered from Christmas to June this year, we delivered $114 million of work. Can't thank Nick Drinkwater and Claude from my division, but some of the companies delivering works through that program, Downers, McMahon's, Fulton Hogan, Bitchemill, Lucas, Borrell, great credit for that. And we've still got 52.5 million for the next 4 6-month periods as well. There's some of the projects that we've already got in delivery in tranche 2. The bottom 4 projects there hopefully be awarding around September, so this month around about $23 million worth of work still to be awarded, and we have to have that delivered by the end of this year. Flurio Connections, $560 million project, Main South Road between Seaford and Sellex, Victor Harbour Road duplication, pretty well just to the McLaren Vale left turn, and then we've got an overtaking lane on the Victor Harbour Road, as well as a planning study that will take us to the bottom of the Wollonga Hill from the McLaren Vale turn-off. Anticipated award there is soon. Hyson Tunnels, that went out to the market today. It's a $75 million project, repairing some of the tunnel lining, upgrading the CCTV in there and some of the safety requirements that we need for our tunnel infrastructure. Tender call, like I said, went out today, so looking to award that early next year. For those that haven't already suffered on the Southeastern Freeway, delivering $35 million of asphalt pavement rehabilitation, and then we'll get into the tunnels mid-next year. Please bear with us, but that surface on that road, delivered by the team and Fulton Hogan, it's exceptional up there. So I apologise for those that live up in the hills, but please bear with us. Still a bit of work to go. We'll be looking, there's a package of works out already to deliver the intersection asphalt works and then down Cross Road. But Old Murray Bridge, 36 million, heritage listed structure. We'll be blasting and repainting that to give that bridge a lease of life. That again, tender went out today. So another great opportunity for South Australian businesses. Also looking to leverage off of the communities up at Murray Bridge and give work to the Aboriginal community up there and the local businesses of Murray Bridge as well. Strzelecki Track, $215 million. Already some of those projects have been delivered. I can't, those that have been working up there, Jodie and Mick Horner and her team, there's a package coming out this month. It's about a $15 million package. It'll go to tender, about a 41-kilometre section, so that'll come out, look for that. And then there's a program through this slide that shows how we'll be delivering those works into 2024. Overtaking lanes, I've just listed a few of the overtaking lanes. This is the biggest program of overtaking lanes I've seen for many, many years, over $100 million worth of lanes to be delivered. There's just a snapshot of a few, looking to have some contract awards in September for Long Valley, but then we've got a whole range going to market. We usually try and put these in groups so that you have the constructors have an opportunity to swing around between lanes. I was lucky to be over Lincoln this week. OTM are delivering 3 overtaking lanes over there. Fortunately, they got hit with a bit of weather, but they're progressing now. Sun was shining like today, so they'll be into the market delivering more opportunities. Bridge upgrades, over $66 million worth of bridge upgrades. We're packaging those bridges together so that it gives a continuity of work, gives a pipeline of work for those. Good to see Lead Engineering already out there on the north-south freight route, delivering some upgrades to our bridges there. Dave Edwards and Amir will be delivering those for us. Then you've got a marine program of over $70 million, Port Bonython a $32 million upgrade. Already Maritime Constructions have finished Coffin Bay for us, and they'll soon be onto West Beach Boat Ramp, putting more ramps in there at West Beach. And then we've got a package of other works. The KI Ports upgrade, $22 million as well. Everyone loves pavement rehabilitation. Craig, Sam Swanson, Gerald Rayner are doing those works for us. There's just a snapshot, over $149 million worth of work to be delivered there over this coming year. we're looking to award just this month alone around about $48 million. And over the next 3 months, we're going to put $35 million into the market. So pretty exciting for our asphalt and pavement rehabilitation crews. Wayne mentioned in his study there's a 250 million improvements of Harndorf. There'll be a link road there to the freeway, improved access, and obviously, importantly, trying to help that Harndorf Main Street as well. We'll continue to work and consult with the industry, but also consult with the community and business owners in that area as well. Look to be a procurement in early next year, maybe push and stretch the team, Darius, to the end of this year, but early next year, and we'll be putting that together with the Truro bypass, another $202 million worth of work, approximately 14 kilometres. It'll improve freight, it'll improve safety, so that'll be another exciting project to put, looking to procure that as an alliance. You know, these projects, I haven't mentioned all of them. You know, we've got a $40 million package of work on KI. We've also got Lefevre upgrades. There's $100 million there that Neil Welsh will do. We're still progressing well with the Gawler electrification, and Dave Waltham and his team in rail have got a range of upgrades of stations as well. With all this sort of work that we've got to deliver, we need a massive team of DIT. We need a massive team of industry, so I can't thank you all enough. But also, you know, not only that, but our great governance, we've got a project management framework we adopt. Safety is critical to all of us. We all want to go to work safe, but also go home safe. So Angela Gerace has done a great job with her team, and Chris Carr in the safety space as well. With that, we've also got works, you know, the Festival Plaza is progressing well. Outside Ideas is doing some great work there for us with paving. So again, you know, that's just a snapshot. Wayne did mention, and Andrew will talk about our pipeline that'll be onto the internet soon. Great to see industry here. Thank you for your support. I thank you for the support of my team. If you do need to get me, you know you'll have to go through Leanne. I thank Leanne for putting the presentation together, and all of Andrew's team who have worked tirelessly to put this event together today as well. But now I'll introduce Simon, who will talk about some social infrastructure that him and his team are delivering. Thank you.
Thanks, John, and also like to extend my welcome to everyone here today, and also acknowledge the Kaurna land that we meet on today. So my job today is all to talk about the social infrastructure program that we're currently delivering on behalf of government agencies, some of those who are listed on that slide behind me today. So we've currently got 150 odd projects on our book, about $4.8 billion. I'm claiming a slightly different number to you, Tony, because I've added the women's and kids into the program, but it's still an enormous portfolio, whether that's in or not, for over 10 plus government agencies. We really do deliver a very diverse program. We deliver projects down at $1 million, and then you'll see the very large scale projects. And our clients ask us to deliver lots of weird and wonderful projects as well, so the scope of what we deliver is quite amazing. But to deliver these projects, we rely really heavily on a DIT team working really closely with industry. I feel in our group we've got a really strong bond with the industry, be that with individual companies as well as industry bodies. I was talking to Nicolette from AIA earlier today. I was talking to Will from MBA, the industry bodies. We've got a great relationship with them, but also the individual companies and their design partners, our cost partners, and also our general building contractors or GBCs. But I would like to acknowledge our DIT team. So the buildings team is led by Ben Hogarth. Also in the room today from the buildings team, we've got John Jenner and John Callier. So to you guys and to the broader team, thank you for all your efforts. I think we're working really well with the industry, and I thank you for your efforts to date, and I look forward to another challenging year ahead. This slide here called upcoming tender opportunities. It's not there to read the graph and understand every size of every individual project. I guess it's really just to show the variety and the size of the projects that we have to deliver. So you'll see there's quite a few projects in the sub $10 million range. There's a large group of projects in that $10 to $50 million range. And then we've got a couple of projects beyond that, a couple of $80+ million projects. And then on the far right, the new women's and children's at $1.95 billion. So what I'll do now is I'll just perhaps whip through each of the portfolios and go through. So starting with the Women's and Children's Project, that is obviously going to be constructed immediately to the west of the Royal Adelaide Hospital. To date, we've completed a number of site investigations on that site. The design team, led by Woods Bagot, WSP and Rod Levitt Bucknell, have completed the project master plan that's been released. We've selected the delivery model for how we're going to deliver that project, so that will be delivered via a managing contractor, a collaborative contracting model that we use extensively in our area. We've released an expression of we've closed now an expression of interest for that managing contractor. An integrated project management office has been set up between ourselves and SA Health to deliver a project of this scale. So SA Health is sort of leading that PMO, but DIT staff are heavily involved. In terms of next steps for this exciting project, the concept design, that'll be completed later this year. We're also looking at some early site investigation works that we might do separate to the managing contractor procurement, still working through exactly the scope of maybe some of those civil works that we might perform ahead of the managing contractor being appointed. We're working out that scope in the coming months. But then the managing contractor itself, as I said, the EOI is done, we'll be out for RFT, and then we'll be looking to award that managing contractor early in 2022. Staying in the health space for the moment, we're already delivering over $640 million worth of health projects, including 4 of the larger projects that are up in the top right-hand corner of that screen. Each of those is delivered via a managing contractor model again, so that presents ongoing tendering opportunities to trade contractors that are in the room as well as on the live stream today. Further to that, we've got 20 plus projects currently, or smaller health projects currently on the go, all around the state in different levels of design, quite a few in delivery, so plenty of work happening in that health space already. And then just listed perhaps 5 of the more significant projects that are upcoming in our health space. Queen Elizabeth Hospital, $280 million new clinical services building out the front of the existing QEH. That'll be delivered via a managing contractor. We're in the process of engaging that managing contractor at the moment. Older Persons Mental Health Unit, that's a new facility that's going to be constructed at Modbury, $48 million project. We're engaging the design team for that now, and we'll be looking for a managing contractor for that probably in the middle of next year. Northern Crisis Stabilisation Centre, another recently announced project, $20-odd million. The exact location where that's going to go out in the north, Health is still working through that, but in parallel, we're out engaging our design team so that we can all hit the ground running once we have that direction from Health. A couple of significant country emergency department upgrades, so 2 projects there, both $15 million, delivering those as construct only, one at Southern Fleurieu and one at the Gawler Hospital. So a couple of GBC tendering opportunities upcoming for those hospitals, one later this year and one will be in the new year. And as well as that, right down the bottom right-hand corner, just an announcement or a reference to some planning works that SA Health are doing in their patch. They're doing what's called a PICU, or Psychiatric Intensive Care Unit study. They're looking at all their PICU beds across the state, whether they should be consolidated, coordinated differently. So that's a planning study that they're doing, which could result in a range of works for us. They're also undertaking a full business case to consider the feasibility of a new Barossa hospital. So again, there's some works to be done, but another project that's in that planning space that, if it comes to fruition, will be delivered via our building projects team, led by Ben and his crew. Health keeps going. We've got lots of work on health. We've mentioned last time that there is now a 10-year asset sustainment program that Health are delivering, $14 million per year over a 10-year cycle. We're probably in about year 3 or 4 of that program, but lots of opportunities in regional areas, some of those very heavy infrastructure projects, so we'll have them as engineering-led projects, others our usual architecture-led process. I've just included 4 examples of some upcoming tendering opportunities of the more significant ones in those country hospitals. All 4 of those are listed as construct-only contracts with GBC tenders coming out in the coming months. So moving across to education, likewise I've spoken at this briefing last time about the very significant education program that we have in front of us. We're delivering nearly $800 million worth of projects across 70 schools. We're delivering them in a number of rounds. Round 1 and 2 is the focus at the moment. We need all of those round 1 and 2 schools finished by the end of this year or ready for term 1 next year, so that the year 7s can transition into high school from next year. Overall, that program's tracking really, really well, and we've had a number of projects that are already complete. We've got a number of projects that are nearing completion or will be achieving completion in the next few months. We're working really, really close with industry and with Department for Education, but our industry partners, so you in the room, you on the live stream, to deliver that. What we really know is the Year 7s, they're coming next year, so day one, term one next year, those Year 7 cohort will be at those high schools, so we just have to find a way to deliver on that critical outcome. Round 3 is the second round of the Education Capital Works program. For us, there's 11 schools. It's probably smaller value schools, but we're working through those at the moment. GBC, tendering opportunities. We've got one of those out now. The next lot come out in the coming months, and then that'll continue on into early 2022. Separate to the round 1 and 3 program that I've just spoken for, education, there's also a number of additional projects that are coming up. The largest of those is the recently announced Ross Trevor High School, which will be located on the existing Norwood Moriata campus at Ross Trevor. That's an $85 million project. We're actually building that in a 2-stage project. So stage 1 will be approximately $25 million, and that's all about getting a facility ready for Year 7s so that Year 7s can go to that school in 2023. So we've got time to focus on Year 7s, get that part of the school built, and then following that there'll be a stage 2, which will be the remainder of the facility, so about another $60 million that'll be progressively built and handed over in 2023. We're delivering that as one project, but as in one building contractor, but 2 stages. So we've recently released an expression of interest that's out at the moment for general building contractors interested in that project. We've also then got other education projects. Won't go through them all, but there's some more education projects listed up there. The team's very excited to be delivering the $200 million Aboriginal Arts and Culture Centre on Lot 14. We're delivering this also via a managing contractor model. Obviously for this project there's a very strong focus on Aboriginal engagement, Aboriginal employment. We're looking at Aboriginal employment opportunities in the design phase, in the construction phase, but also into the operations of that facility as well. We've completed an expression of interest for our general building contractor, managing contractor, and we're currently underway with the request for tender. So that project's progressing really well, and we're looking to start construction works at the end of this calendar year. Another exciting project that's on the forward pipeline is the $660 million Riverbank Arena that will be constructed to the west of the Morphett Street Bridge. The facility is going to have the capacity for 15,000 people, so allowing attendances to significantly increase from events that would currently be held at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. It's also going to have an under-bridge or under-road link through to the Convention Centre. So likewise, any events that are held at the Convention Centre, we can now hold much larger events as a state at that Convention Centre. So a very critical project for Adelaide Venue Management, who are our lead agency for that project. Where we're at the moment, Adelaide Venue Management have completed the full business case for that, and they expect that they'll come to us in Q2 next year and request that we engage a design team to start that exciting project. Moving around to some of our other agencies, for Department of Premier and Cabinet, we're currently constructing a new pavilion at Carrick Hill. We're also delivering an $85 million cultural collection storage facility for DPC. The exact location of that facility is still to be resolved, but it will be out in the north of Adelaide somewhere. Just finalising that now with the lead agency. Again, that's going to be delivered via a managing contractor. EOI for that managing contractor call will come out Q4 this year. For courts, we're facilitating a considerable facade restoration project on the Sir Samuel Way building on Victoria Square. The team's currently progressing a PPR for that, and we're going to deliver that one via a design and construct model with a tender for that D&C call early next year. We've got a huge amount going on in the office and rec and sport and racing space. We're already delivering a number of projects in the rec and sport space, State Sports Park out at Jepps Cross, and also the Coopers Stadium upgrade at Hindmarsh. Coopers is also being delivered as a managing contractor, so again presents ongoing tendering opportunities for those trade contractors here. Critically for Coopers, we've got a very hard stop. We've got to have that facility ready for the Women's World Cup that's in Australia in 2023, so another critical deadline that we just have to achieve. At SASI, we've got to build a new Sports Institute headquarters at Mile End, so SASI are moving from Kidman Park to Mile End, so we've got a new facility to be built there, including all the training facilities required. We're engaging the design team at the moment for this project. Not 100% confirmed, but we'll probably be delivering that via a managing contractor model. Total budget for that project is $49 million. Also upgrading the netball stadium that's at Mile End. That's an $18 million project. And then we've got a further project in Mile End, lots going on in that precinct where we're upgrading the existing athletics stadium at Mile End, and that includes installation of a new running track at that facility. So that's a $6 million project, looking to call our builder for that later this year. In corrections, we've got a managing contractor delivered Yatala Labour Prison that we're currently constructing out there. That's working and progressing really well, that project. We're also doing works at the adjacent Adelaide Women's Prison. But I guess to show our diversity and some of the projects that we end up with, we're also, on behalf of corrections, constructing a new dairy facility at the Cadell Prison. So this is expanding on an existing operations where that facility actually produces all of the milk for all of the state's prison system, and we've been asked to expand that. So one of those very weird and wonderful projects that we get to deliver in buildings. In human services, we're consolidating 2 youth justice training centres onto one site at the Kultana Tapa site in Cavan. So construction only contract for this GBC contractor be planned for, I think, Q4 this year. So that's a $19 million project, so another significant project that we have on the go. Got a few projects for Department of Environment and Water on the back of the Kangaroo Island fires that the Minister mentioned earlier today. We're building a new new visitor centre at Flinders Chase. There's a Cape Willoughby information hub, and we're also building some additional staff housing and a works depot there. All of those projects, we've got them down as construct-only projects, and we're actually not too far away from calling all of those projects. They'll be called individually, but the general building contractor calls not that far away with our construct-only model. Also for Department of Environment and Water, we're upgrading or doing a refurbishment at Ayers House on North Terrace, so that's a $6 million refurbishment with a GBC tender call early in the new year. On this slide, we've got a number of other projects for agencies that I haven't spoken about today. For example, at PIRSA, at their research facility at West Beach, we're upgrading that facility. We're actually ending up with two general building tender calls. We have to replace the seawater intake pipes, so that'll go out as one contractor call, and then there's some upgrade works to be done to the building itself, so we'll call that as a separate contractor. For Department for Infrastructure and Transport as our lead agency in some cases, and we've got some office project upgrade works. We're doing upgrade works to the education building and to Wakefield House in Vic Square. There's fit-out type works as well as engineering works happening in those spaces. So quite some substantial spends on those existing buildings with the general building contractor tender calls in Q1 next year. So that concludes my brief around the grounds. Thank you very much for listening, and the same message as John and others have presented. We really value the relationship we have with the industry, and we need you to help us deliver this program. So thank you very much for your time. Just in closing, there's a website up on there which is our Building Projects Forward Planner. That gets updated every month by Ben and his team, and that really is the best location if you want to understand what's happening in our building space, what projects that we've got in early planning, in design, and then in construction. So I encourage you to keep an eye on that one every month. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks to Ben and his team for all the hard work and the hard work we've got ahead of us. Now I'll hand back to Andrew, who's going to conclude today's presentation.
Thanks, Simon. As Simon alluded to, that concludes our presentations for today. So thank you to all our speakers for providing such a detailed overview of our pipeline over the coming 12 months. And thank you to all of you for attending here today and online. As it was mentioned, to access the department's Forward Works plan, that will be on our website at the address that's displayed on the screen, and I believe that will be up online this afternoon, but with confidence by close of play today, so please log on for that. And also a recording of our live stream will be available on our website from tomorrow. So now we have some time for networking, so please enjoy the amenities. Our speakers will be here to take any questions and catch up, so thank you very much.